Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Kera Dangerous Live. This is going to be a great show. I have a great guest for you guys, Minister Nuri Muhammad. I want you to go grab a friend and come on back because we're going to break down a lot of things for you today. But before I introduce him, you know what the deal is and what we got to do.
It ain't the same around here like it used to be. You don't see people sit together like you used to see. I keep telling the people to find inner peace. Don't pull out that gun.
All right, guys, here we go. Hello, Minister. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Sister Kera. It's an honor and privilege to share space and time with you this evening.
Yes, sir. Look at you looking all good and clean, brother. You got the coldest fade I ever done seen.
Well, I can't take no credit for it. It's my barber that's been cutting my hair since we were both in junior high school.
Oh, it looks so good.
Oh, thank you. Praise be to Allah. Wait till I tell him that now I got to upgrade his tip.
Yeah, I saw somebody in one of the comments on one of the shows you're on say that brother got a nice fade. I said I had to bring that up tonight, baby.
Yeah, he's my
Woo.
He doesn't make no mistakes. It don't seem like, and I always tell him that I'll mess with him. I said, well, whenever I get in the chair, I want you to make me as handsome as you just made that other brother. Then everybody always says, no, you the one. He always put the special touch on you. We trying to get the special touch.
Absolutely.
But he's my cousin and one of our brothers, and I probably may have been his first or second haircut that he cut when he was probably 13, and we both were at the same age. And he's been cutting my hair ever since. And I told him, I said, you will be cutting my hair. I don't care when you quit cutting. You'll be cutting my hair to either I die or you die, but you're gonna be there.
Look, tell him he mastered the skill. He don't mastered the skill. Bravo.
All right, I'll let him know. I'll let him know. He's gonna be touched by it.
Look, brother, it's a lot of things going on that I'm concerned with. But before we get into the meat of everything, I just want to kind of introduce you. I got a chance to meet you at Dr. Buzz Watkins' All Black National Convention. And I saw you speak about Black women and Black men and our relationship and what we need to do to kind of bring it back together. And I was so honored to be able to hear you speak because I'm always thinking about what history is going to look like. And I said, this guy's going to be down in history. And I can say one day that I got to hear Mr. Nuri Muhammad in person and shake his hand. So, that was a great moment.
Well, it was my honor to meet you and, blessed that we crossed paths. And as soon as we talked and you told me what you were doing and the noble motive behind what you're doing, of course, we signed on to do the best we could to come and hopefully add value to your platform and and do something to impact the condition of our people. So we put it out there then, said we was coming, and we here.
Absolutely. A man of his word. I know you live in Indianapolis, and I know you call it Klan Nation out there.
We have some Black people, but it is what it is. It's the Hoosier state, and it's deeply rooted and in the white supremacist ideology. And of course, we've been trying to. They call it Nap Town for a reason, and that's because they have put a lot of effort in making sure that Black people are lulled to sleep. But we we've been knocking on doors and sounding the alarm with the trumpet and final call to try to wake our people up here. And so far we have, I think we've been a little effective in this area.
Absolutely. And I believe you work at mosque number 74. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, ma'am. That's the mosque that I'm considered, in church terms, the resident minister of mosque number 74. But we don't, of course, the good thing about us is that we don't just have a mosque. We have a whole complex that has restaurants in it. We have a daycare and school facility. They're not open currently, but our restaurants that are in the building are. And we have the mosque in there as well. Multi-million-dollar structure that we paid off last year. So we own it free and clear. It's ours.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I didn't know it was such an advanced campus that you guys have a living area. I didn't know you had a cafe in there and you're eating good. Do you guys eat real good? Like you got fried? Well, y'all don't eat pork. I'm about to say fried pork chops. No, you definitely don't like those.
Emphatically low. Well, we actually the restaurant that is. We have two restaurants in there now. One of them is owned by a believer and her family. They own it, and it's called Always Bean, and they're a national distribution of Navy bean products. The Navy bean is that signature bean that Master Father Muhammad taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad about, that we make in our bean soup and our bean pie. And they have went in as scientists and converted it into hot links and patties and multiple different bean items. And they distribute all over the country, and also have open for eat-in cafe. And then the restaurant that the mosque owns as an institution is called Eat to Live Cafe. So it is, we are following the dietary law that God gave the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so we pretty much, we don't sell anything fried at all. Everything is baked, pan seared, or grilled. And we do a lot of vegetable soups, wraps, salads, etc. So it's more of I would call it a health food restaurant. Yeah.
Very interesting. I need to go there. I got a couple of pounds I need to lose. Sounds pretty good. And I can get my prayer on. I get
That's
it.
right. That's right. Well, we teaching. We have classes 5 days a week in the facility. One for the brothers and sisters separate on Mondays and Saturdays. Then Wednesday and Friday we have a lecture on Wednesday, study group, and then Sundays are pretty much our main day. We do Friday a Jumu'ah prayer. So we got a lot of activity going on. I don't think that there's a moment in time within a 24-hour cycle that somebody's not there or something's going on. So we working it.
Yes. Now I have to ask you, when I look and I observe and I watch the stories about people who join the Nation of Islam, the men, it seems like the men always come from a troubled beginning. Am I wrong in saying that? Or a lot of people come from the streets? I'm asking that because I want to know, what is it about the Nation of Islam that draws those troubled souls into that religion, into that, I know you don't call it a religion, but into the nation?
Well, we have a diversified portfolio of personalities in the nation. So we do have the chemists, the doctors, the engineers, the architects, the entrepreneurs that came already from those professions in the nation. I think that we have been made, we become known because any time that you are a part of a spiritual system or a religion, technically you are supposed to be in the business of the transformation of human life.
Yes.
And transformation is deemed to be the greatest, or judged by its before and after image or before and after condition. You turn on television and they want to sell you the dietary program for weight loss. They show you a before and an after. Whatever it is, whether it's they're trying to get you to buy this cream for your face, they show you a before and an after. Well, so it is when you're in the business of the transformation of human life, you want to market the before and the after. And I think because so many people that have come from the streets have come in the nation, as well as doctors, as well as engineers, as well as teachers, as well as entrepreneurs, as well as lawyers. We have all of those in the nation, but that marketing piece, or that which stands out the most, is the best before and after. And when you take someone that came from the streets where they were selling dope or on dope or homeless, and now you see them a wife or a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, clean, upright, dignified, and moving in a progressive manner, and not only helping self but becoming a helper of others. I think that becomes a great testimony of before and after to show that we are really doing the job of transforming human life. Sister Kera, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did say this, though. He said, my best followers are in the streets. And many people, when they heard that, they took it just to mean that the best followers were still out there in the world, not yet in the mosque with him. That's true too. But whenever you're talking about in slang, when you say somebody's in them streets, you're talking about they hustling, they gang banging. So there's a certain type of personality that you call a street person. And that's those hustlers. And that's those that, have been, gang banging or what have you. So those kind of soldiers have a pattern of becoming the best because they've been living their life in a way that they were willing to risk it all, kill and die for nothing. So as soon as they come and meet this and they have the greatest something to fight for, they become more devoted.
Now, I've heard you say that, you sold some drugs in your past, and it was just as hard to stop selling as it is for the fiend to stop the drug. But I don't think I heard you say what took you down that path in the first place.
Well, whenever you are operating as a creature of your environment versus being a creator of your environment, then you fall into the pattern of what's going on. Some people, you've heard people say that the world is a ghetto, but the real truth is that the ghetto becomes your world. Poverty restricts you from motion, and you began to operate in that environment, and you follow the rules of that environment. And the two things that you're trying to do, number one, first you want to survive. And then after you survive, you want to thrive. And when you're in the hood, surviving, after you get to that point, who are the thrivers? And the thrivers are those that are getting money in the street. So, we just being a product of that environment and, messing around, selling weed. I was selling weed probably 11 and 12 years old, and then everybody in my neighborhood that I grew up in, I wasn't necessarily out there with them like that, but they was out. You talking 6, 7 blocks, every corner, both sides of the street, 4 or 5 brothers on each corner, and everybody getting rich. That's how much dope was being sold where I grew up at. So, I never was out on the corners like that, but me and my partners, we were in business together, and I did some of the other operational sides of things, but I wasn't doing a whole lot of serving people. But the kind of money that you start making that gives you access to things in life, and you keep in mind, I'm a teenager too. You talking about a teenager in 1990 making $3,000 to $5,000 a week then? That's good money now. That's like you making $8,000 to $10,000 a week right now. And you imagine being that young, seeing that kind of capital turn over. So the reason I said that it's just as hard to stop selling as it is to stop using is because one's addicted to the drug while the other's addicted to the money that comes from the sale of the drugs. And I always looked at it, I said, this is probably why they call it crack rock, because they're getting 2 birds with 1 stone. They're getting one on the dope, and they're getting the other one by being the one selling the dope. And it wasn't until, I had an epiphany sitting on the porch one day, a thought came into my mind. I wonder what the dope fiends were doing whenever they was my age. So I instead of serving, I just went through the hood interviewing all the people that were getting served. And almost every last one of them said that whenever we was your age, we was getting money just like you.
Mm.
And I'm saying, what you mean getting money just like me? You was cutting grass, painting houses?
Mm.
What you talking about? It's like, no, we was hustling. And I said, man, if I'm doing what they were doing when they were my age, then I'm en route to be doing what they're doing when I become their age.
Right.
And the song wasn't out back then, but I said, hell no, to the no.
To the
To the
now.
no.
So
Bishop Bullwinkle, I'm not going out like that. So I made that decision based upon the fact that I knew where I was headed, and I didn't like that I started feeling my love for what I should love dying, killing my people. And I guess that's what's supposed to happen. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If I'm killing my people, why shouldn't my humanity die in the process? So, that's how it triggered me. And, I wanted to get out, and I started messing with church.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel the strength in it to keep me from the streets. And at that time, my girlfriend introduced me to a message to the black man by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and 2 lectures by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And when I heard those lectures and read that book, I said, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am.
Yes, I was going to ask you when you started getting that feeling to minister, because I hear all people who preach and everything, they say that it's just an overwhelming feeling that you have to do it. You got to get it done. So you definitely had that moment after you stopped dealing with the streets.
Yeah, but I never wanted to be no minister. I never wanted to be in leadership. Now, of course, looking back in time and then watching people that have been interviewed from my life growing up by other people and listening to their responses and their reasons, they said that I always had these special leadership qualities and traits. I never seen myself like that, but that's how they judged me. My teachers, bus drivers, people grew up in my neighborhood. All those people say that they always knew something was, special or different. But I never seen none of that. So when I came in the nation, I told the brothers, look, y'all ain't never gonna catch me in no dress shoes. I'll always be in soldier and boots. I ain't come here to be on no rostrum. I don't want no positions. I want to be a soldier.
Mm.
And but Sister Kera, I didn't like the fact that I was missing on all this knowledge.
Mm.
So I studied 8 to 10 hours a day when I was in high school, the teachings. And because I was studying so much, my comments had substance when we had discussions, and they kept encouraging them to put me on the rostrum. I never wanted to do it, but I did go up there, and it had a positive effect on the people. I thought they just was being nice. I was 17, they was trying to support this little young brother. He knew, let's cheer for him. But they was genuinely excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I did hear a voice in my head that said, while I was up there, this is what you're born to do. But I didn't know if it was Pookie Muhammad or Prophet Muhammad. I didn't know who was talking to me. So I said, hey, who is that? Is that Ray? So I disregarded the voice for a few days, and they put me back on the rostrum, and I did a whole lecture, 17, and became an assistant minister, and the rest has been history.
That's beautiful. And, we're coming off the death. I'm pretty sure you heard of the killing of the rapper Young Dolph.
Yes.
In Memphis, just like we lose so many black men to violence. And it's really sad because, Minister, sometimes it just seems like we're losing all these alpha black males to violence. They just killing each other. Coming from where you came from.
Yeah.
I know you get to travel to all 50 states, and you're the minister that gets to go out and speak to the people. What is your message when you talk to these young black men and you're trying to get them to leave that life alone that only brings death and destruction?
Well, there's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it like this. He said, knowledge of self produces love for self.
Mm-hmm.
And when you love yourself, you start doing for yourself. And whenever you are looking at another black man, that's your brother.
Mm-hmm.
If you drop the first 2 letters in the word brother, it's other. So
Mm.
your brother is your other self.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you should do to you, you should do to your other you. So that is the statement. We try to really brand that on the black man's psyche, that your brother is your other self. And if you know you and love you, then you should be treating your other you the same way. Unfortunately, you know, this thing is so serious.
Mm-hmm.
The stats were done about 10 years ago, and they said that there were more black males born than there are black females. But by the time the two reach the age 18, black females outnumber black males 7-1. That means that black males are dying at the rate of an endangered species. So you see all these special TV programs and organizations set up to protect the koala bear, the white tiger, the blue whale, and bald eagle. But what's set up to protect the black man? Nothing. We have to set it up for ourselves. So everywhere we go, we are putting out a SOS, and it means save ourselves. Cry, because nobody cares about us dying the way that we die. And I was just telling, well, I think I just posted it the other day, that it's a natural reflex. Anytime there's a conflict or disagreement, to reach up into the mind for knowledge, wisdom, understanding, information, and data to solve the problem. But whenever you have a people that have been robbed of their name, their culture, their religion, moreways, folkways, norms, God, they haven't been taught a knowledge of themselves and really have developed a phobia for reading. So now, whenever the natural reflex, when a conflict or disagreement shows up, is to reach up into the mind. When you reach up and there's nothing there, the only thing left to do is to reach down for a weapon to solve your problem.
Yes.
So once it's all, once the smoke clears with this young Dolph situation, almost every single time, I'm saying 99.9% of the time, that what the person was killed for was not even worthy of an argument, let alone taking somebody's life. So we just got to get those essential knowledges back into the head of our people, where we know ourselves and love ourselves. And once you love yourself and see your brother as your other self, then you won't kill your brother. You will reach up and find knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to solve the problem or settle a disagreement. And you won't have to feel like you need to reach down for a weapon to eliminate him from the face of the earth.
I just been wondering, because I shed a tear about young Dolph last night, but it wasn't just about young Dolph. It really truly hurts me. It's almost like I can feel the hurt from God when I keep seeing our young brothers getting killed.
Right.
You know, it's sad to me that they don't value life. And I'm just trying to figure out, how can we get them to a point to value their life?
Well, it's going to take a concerted effort, which means concerted effort means that you have to have all hands on deck. It's not just a mother and a father. It's not just a teacher and a mentor. It's not just a coach. It's not just an uncle or an aunt. It's not just the music. It's not just what's on television. It's not just social media feed. All of this has to really make a drastic change. Do you know, Sister Kera, that in the 40s, late 40s, that Mao Zedong, when he became the ruler of China, that the Chinese people at that time were either opium users or opium dealers. Everybody was on dope or selling dope. And when he became the leader of China, he made it against the law for them to make any more plays, any songs, or to show any images in printed material or on billboards or signs, except plays, movies, or not movies, but plays and music and art that produced pride in Chinese people being Chinese. And after 1 year of banning all invalidating information going into the Chinese mind and only putting in the mind of the Chinese that which made them proud of who they were. After 1 year, there was no more opium users or dealers, no more. No more fighting, no more killing one another. So arts and culture and really having a strict rule of what's allowed to be downloaded into the brain.
Yes.
Really has the ability to make that kind of change. And I'm gonna say this, Sister Kara, I don't know the Chinese language, but I've heard Chinese music. It don't have nothing on hip hop or R&B. It don't sound near as good as the black music that we make. So I'm imagining if you have inferior form of entertainment from the Chinese in 1 year, producing that kind of change in China with our skill set, with our wordplay, with the kind of beats that we're making and our skill at performing, we might be able to flip this thing in 30 days.
Man, I sure hope so. It just seems like it's getting bad out here. The enemy is out here and prowling, and people gotta.
Well, they love it. They don't, you know, the dominant figure in this world is the white male. And they are the illegitimate slot holder of the top of the food chain. And so they have to do everything in their power to maintain their illegitimate position. Their number one threat is the black man. So whatever they can do to bend his gender, feminize him, break him, make him, give him lack of access to employment so that he can be the maintainer, protector, and provider that he's born to be in his nature. You do all of that, plus turn the brothers with skill and don't allow them to have a record deal unless they're talking about something that disrespects their women, bragging about killing their brother or how much dope they're using and selling. And that's how you're gonna get on with the
But you know what? We can't expect the enemy to help us out. They want us to say, you know, have those messages out there to kill ourselves and to call women whores and bitches.
But that's my point. So they are the gatekeepers of all of these industries. So you know, on the plantation, they used to have a saying: "Nigga sing, nigga dance, nigga jump, nigga die." And if you look at the world, these are the only 4 areas of human expression Black people are operating in with the minimal amount of hindrance and suppression. You singing, dancing, you jumping. That's sports or entertainment. If not, you're dead or you're dealing death. So these areas is where all of the talent is running to. When we go to the elementary schools to ask the children what do they want to be, everybody want to be an athlete or an entertainer. Why? Because these are the areas that seem to be making the most money, and these are the areas that Black people can go to and become successful in with the minimum amount of hindrance and suppression. So that's my point. My point is that the gatekeepers of these industries, they see a line of 1,000 brothers or sisters with the skill set, and they want to know which one out of these 1,000 is going to be the most non-threatening to white supremacy. Which one of these is going to be the one that I can get to work hard and they'll sell their soul in the process?
Boy, you just said something there.
So they just look through, and they have the talent pool, and they say, you know what, I'm gonna take these 2. The other 998, I don't trust y'all. Y'all might start talking that conscious stuff one day and positive. I don't trust y'all. Y'all might even try to do something for your community. So I'm just gonna pick these 2 because I can see these is gonna be my best slaves. And because the talent pool is so great, because all of our gift has been devoted to that craft. They always have a lot to choose from, and they don't make it impossible, but they make it hard. I'm just putting it in the atmosphere to let us know what the atmosphere is that helps to create and justify black on black homicide like we see it.
Now, I want to say this, and then I'll move on to a very important topic to me. But, you know, I hear so many people say, well, it's art. But I'm starting to say to people, sometimes art can go too far. And I think we use that excuse of calling things art so many times to just say, it's okay, it's art. It's art. But,
well, you know, there's always been a great debate for thousands of years.
right.
Does art imitate life, or is life imitating art? And the answer is D, all of the above. So there are conditions that are born in an environment that produce the lyrics that people are singing and rapping about, because it's an expression of life experience. But one thing you'll notice is that black people's music is the only music that is disrespectful and derogatory to their own kind.
Ooh.
So whenever you look at a brother or a sister that has the kind of wordplay that these artists have, they didn't learn. There's no school to teach you how to flow like these brothers and sisters flow. So if you didn't go to school to learn it, then it's a gift from God. Right. So your mindset shouldn't be that all I'm going to do is reflect the reality that I live in. Your mindset should be, you know what? I'm going to use my gift to change the reality that I live in. Words are powerful, Sister Kera. Mm-hmm. Do you know that in the scripture, when the scholars were trying to figure out what they could find in nature to compare to the word, that there was nothing that they could find that could express the power words have except for God himself? Wow. So in 1 John, it says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God.
Yes.
Look at that. Yeah. Everything that God wanted, he didn't just think it and wish it. He spoke it into existence, and God said, let there be light. Yes. And God said, let the stars adorn the heaven. And God said, let the firmament cover the earth. And God said, let us make man. In the Holy Quran, it says it like this, that when Allah deems a thing, he simply says to it, be, and it is. So yes. Words don't just express or reflect reality, but words have the power by the law of substitution to create a reality. So the brothers, the sisters with this skill, they have to know, look, your responsibility is not to tell me what's going on in a trap house. Hell, I've been living in a trap house my whole life. I don't need you to tell me about that. I need you to stop reflecting reality, and by the law of substitution, use your skill set, your wordplay, to put some lyrics in the atmosphere that will absolutely change the reality. And that's their assignment. And they just have to be awakened to it and then begin to execute it. And we'll see the paradigm shift in the twinkling of an eye.
Little brother, I have an important topic to bring up. Then I'm going to bring it back around to asking you some questions about the Nation of Islam specifically. But it's no secret, and I know you know because you like the photo, when I was wearing my Malcolm X hat and my Malcolm X shirt. Malcolm X is one of my biggest heroes. I mean, I think there's God and my mother, and then there's Malcolm X. So I just want to know, because the news broke today, I believe, that the gentlemen who were in prison for assassinating him were exonerated, Muhammad Aziz and Khalil Islam.
Yeah.
But they're not bringing any charges on the FBI or nobody else. Do you have any thoughts about this, the news that broke today concerning that?
Well, it came out yesterday in the New York Times, and ain't that something, that Brother Malcolm was assassinated in 1965.
Mm-hmm.
These brothers were incarcerated in 1966. They confessed and claimed their innocence then. There was another shooter that confessed to the crime that they would not arrest for the crime at that time. And they allowed these brothers to serve nearly 30 years in prison each for a crime that they didn't commit and that someone else had admitted to doing. What a miscarriage of justice.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, why was it so necessary for the enemy to continue to keep this narrative alive? It's because they wanted to try to indict the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a person and the Nation of Islam as an organization for it, so that they would always be able to find every time in history that they see that there's an affinity of a generation for the nation, and in this case for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They know that there's really no living black leader that they could put to contend with the minister. Either they can't find one to do it, or even if they could find one, he can't carry the weight to even be a small threat to one of the students, let alone the teacher. So what did they do? They find somebody that they can resurrect from the grave and put him up to make him a stumbling block for people that have an affinity for the minister and for the nation. So it's just been a recycled lie that they've always liked to propagate so that they can try to keep the young soldiers in each generation that become interested in the nation from coming all the way through and becoming a member and supporting the minister and the nation as they should. So we've always said it, that these brothers were innocent, and they said it then, and someone came and confessed that they would not even listen to because they wanted to keep this lie alive. And look at this. What is this? 45 years later? No, 55 years later. 55 years later. Now, all of a sudden, you want to exonerate them after they've served 27, 28 years of their life in prison for something they weren't even at the location for.
Yeah, off of a documentary that's on Netflix. So,
well, this is the, and unfortunately, Sister Kara, there's countless black men that have been falsely imprisoned all over the country, and until the blindfold can come off the woman that's holding the scale in her hand for justice, and the scale can be balanced even. See, how crazy is it that the symbol of justice is a woman holding a scale that's lopsided with a blindfold on? Hell kind of judge are you and you ain't looking? And what kind of justice is it if the scale is crooked? You should be seeing 20/20 vision, eyes wide open, and your scale in your hand should be even, showing that it's a fair shake for everybody that comes into that system. But we always have got the short end of the stick, and they've always made sure that anytime that black people do a crime, it's criminal. Anytime white people do a crime, it's clinical.
Well, look, I hear you on that, brother. And we got about 10 minutes because I know you got another appointment. But I have to, let me state some statements, then I have some more questions for you. And I want to just say, first of all, I have the utmost respect for a nation of Islam, because I love the way you guys train up men, and you keep women looking so clean and pristine, and having self-respect. I think that's cool and everything. But I just want to know, because for me, I just want to ask another question about Malcolm. To me, his presence, his message, it went beyond religion. It went beyond just being a Muslim. He touched so many people. And his message still resonates today. And I truly believe he was a true prophet, and we lost somebody that was important. And I just want to know from you, and you may not be able to answer this, I don't know, but how do you guys view him to this day? Because when I hear you guys speak of him, it's always to say we didn't have a hand in this and that. But I'd like to know, what is his legacy inside the Nation of Islam with you guys? Because to just a Black person who's not a Muslim, he means so much to us. Yeah. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like I would like to see you guys speak about him more, because he was so beyond his time, and he put his life on the line for what he was doing. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, brother. But sometimes I just feel like I want to hear more about him from you guys. I mean, I just feel like he should be, and I know it was a betrayal there and whatever. We don't have to get into that. But I love this man.
Well, the beauty, of course, whenever Brother Malcolm was the national spokesman for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that Malcolm X is the one that the people fell in love with. Those are the speeches that people have the most affinity to. It's not the El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, but it's the Malcolm X version of this man. And for us, there's almost, I'm going to say it's a heavy percent. I don't want to put a number out there. Do you know, Sister Kara, how many people have come into the nation off of reading the autobiography of Malcolm X? So Malcolm X has brought more people into the Nation of Islam dead than most of us have brought in that are alive. Mm-hmm. So we have to salute and pay great respect for him, because even in his death, he is still winning souls over to the truth and having a positive impact. We don't know what would have been the fulfillment of the legacy and the life of Brother Malcolm, because it was cut short. Mm-hmm. Where would he have been? And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has expressed various dreams and experiences that he's had on a spiritual level about what he thinks could have been. And if before he could put out any of the fires that he may have started with the words that he spoke, somebody opened fire on him. So this is a tragedy, because we didn't get a chance to see what the fulfillment of what his life and legacy could have been. We do know this, though, that there's no soul that dies without God's permission. So circumstances, event, and persons that are involved may not be what you like or favorable, but the Lord of the worlds has the final say so. So there's so much that people are learning from him still. There's so many people, as I said, that have connected with this transformation that he experienced while he was incarcerated, and they're following that same path and meeting that same transformation in the little bitty cells inside of prisons and jails in America, and in the big 2,000 by 3,000 mile cell called the United States of America. So that for that, we salute and appreciate him. And as the Quran tells us, that Allah wastes not the work of any worker. And he's been bringing a lot of soldiers to the cause, even though he's not been here physically. And we value and we appreciate that which he did when he was among us working for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and what he's even doing now from the grave to win souls over for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Well, we see the great speeches that the Honorable Minister Farrakhan gives, and I respect a lot of his messages. Is there a leader coming after Mr. Farrakhan, the Honorable Farrakhan, that you think will be as bold and we can count on to just give the raw truth and put themselves out there? Because I feel like we're still waiting on this person to come out there? Is there somebody that's going to take over after the minister, Honorable Farrakhan, steps down? Is there anybody that you know? I know a lot of times it's said that he doesn't say that, but
Well, and this is, this is God's nation. So it's the, when you look at the work of God through scriptural lenses, you have to see, just as Jesus was Messiah, individual. Look at it, great. But he had disciples. He had workers and soldiers around him. And one of the things that you see in scripture is that at the Last Supper, he had a loaf of bread in his hand, and Jesus gave each of the disciples a piece of that loaf. And what was he telling them without words? I am the whole loaf myself. I'm going to be gone one day, but guess what? All of you have a piece of the loaf or a piece of me. You all come together and I'll be present. So I don't think that we should be looking for, individual. Of course, there'll be a point of contact. There'll be someone that'll be in charge of the guardian of the word. But it should be a cadre of us that have a piece of that loaf, that come together with each other to make the whole loaf again. There'll never be another Minister Louis Farrakhan, but we can come together in his name and bring into existence all of the goals, the objectives, and that which he has set for us before he leaves, and get it done before he returns. So that's our spirit. Our spirit is that no big eyes, no little U's, just a whole bunch of big U's trying to do big things in the name of the big God. That's our spirit, and that's what we like to see. We like to see it become nation time.
Well, I have a question for you, and just for clarity, because I was going to ask you this earlier, but my people have it here, so I'm going to put it up on the screen. Will the nation and Al-Islam community ever be under the same leaders?
Well, the reality is this. Technically, we're all in the same mosque already. It's called the 24,896 mile circumference of a planet, and we all have the same ceiling. It's the sky. We all have the same leader, which is God himself. So it's something, Sister Kara, that everybody wants to see the Muslims all the exact same, but nobody ever asked the Methodists when they're going to be Pentecostals, or when the Pentecostals are going to be apostolic, or when the apostolics going to be Second Baptist. Hell, when's Second Baptist going to be with the First Baptist? When's the African Methodist Episcopalian going to be just with the regular Episcopalian? And when's the Church of God in Christ going to be with the Church of God that's under Christ? And when's the Church of God under Christ going to be with the Church of Christ without God? And when's the Church of God? Okay, no, I'm just joking on that one. But so unfortunately, people, we say we want unity, and we speak the term unity, but our mind is always thinking uniformity. And unity and uniformity are not the same thing. Uniformity means everybody does the same thing at the same place at the same time in the same way. That ain't never gonna happen. But unity means we do different things at a different place, maybe even at a different time, but for one common cause. And that is the way that God created the body. And in our book, Holy Quran, it says, I, Allah, created man in the best of molds. So if you want to know what we should look like as a community or as communities, study the body. Look at the kidneys. They don't look like the lungs. The lungs don't look like the spleen. The spleen doesn't look like the bladder. The bladder doesn't look like the heart. All of these organs do different things at different places at different times, but for the one common cause of the survival of this one organism. All of these are called organs. I wonder what would happen if our organizations thought the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody do your part where you are, but do it for the survival of us as one people. And I think that would be unity instead of uniformity. But there's only one God, as we say in Islam, La ilaha illallah, one God, Muhammadan Rasulullah. Muhammad is his messenger. In the church, they say one Lord, one faith, one baptism. Our problem is that nobody's really living up to their mission statements. If everybody lived up to their mission statements that they claim is their creed of their faith or the creed of their organization, we wouldn't have to ask the question about us all coming together looking exactly the same. Everybody would be doing their part, and we would be making progress greater than what we are as a community and as a people. So no, I don't think that that's the necessary question or answer. I think that one ceiling, sky, one floor, the earth, one environment, the 76 quintillion mile diameter of the universe, that's sufficient to say we in this thing together. Let's just do our part where we are. And then, inshallah, God willing, we'll see a day coming where there will be no more Jew, no more Gentile, no more Baptist, Methodist, no more Sunni, no Sufi, no Shiite, no label no more. Everybody would just be manifesting nature.
Yes.
You won't even have to call something a religion. You won't even have to break away to make a prayer. Life will be a prayer.
Well, we got 1 minute, Minister. I wish we could talk longer because I still got so much to ask you, to be honest. But I know you have a book out, and this, I think it's your latest one, The Black Woman, the Second Self of God. But tell me a little bit about that, summarize it, and then I also would like you to answer this question: what is the training for the women called in the nation? I guess that can go along with your book.
Beautiful. Well, this is my latest book of 5 books that I have on the market, and you can find them on NuriMuhammad.com. Real easy to get. This book came as a result of positive peer pressure from various times that people had heard me teaching on different subjects. I did a subject called A Rose from Concrete, another subject called A Woman's Worth, a woman clothed in the sun, Act Like a Lady, Think Like God. Play on Steve Harvey's book.
I know.
Subject that we've done. And I've done some other subjects, same as the book title that I got from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so, the woman so teaches the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the first nurse, the first teacher, the first doctor. And the minister said that mama is God in baby language. He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that a nation can rise no higher than its woman, and that you don't judge a civilization by the men or the money. You judge a civilization by the women of that nation. He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there's no such thing as a no good woman. Any no good woman was made that way by no good man. She, Black woman, is the mother of civilization and the second self of God himself. So once the mother, the first teacher, the first nurse, the first doctor, God in baby language, if she assumes her rightful position and we help her to her rightful position, we can see her bring the whole world, every creed and color, back into divine order. So that's where this came from. And so far it is the bestseller that we have. And you can get it at NuriMuhammad.com. And we have a special training for the women who belong to Islam in North America. It's called MGT and GCC class, Muslim Girls in Training and General Civilizations class. Can't tell you much about it because men are not allowed in it.
Okay.
But I do know that there are 7 units that are expounded on and taught on and training in multiple dimensions. One, how to keep house that deals with more than just the place you live, but deals with taking care of yourself as a woman and all of the dimensions that go into it. How to take care of your husband, how to rear children, how to sew, how to cook, how to act at home and abroad. These units, these 7 units, are the basic units that are trained, and the sisters, their class is the longest of all the classes that we have per week.
Wow.
Our Wednesday and Friday meeting is an hour and a half. Our brothers' class is an hour and a half. Our Sunday lecture is 2 hours, but the sisters' class is 3 hours on Saturday. So there's a special thing going on. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this, Sister Carrie, said 75% of my work is with the woman. So they got a whole lot that is being given to them and feeding their soul and their mind, making them into that new mother of civilization that can bring everything back into harmony and balance again. Hope that answers the question.
Yes, it did, Minister. And I want to be respectful of your time because you just got 1 minute to go to your other interview. But I just want to tell you, if you somebody wanted to ask about Brother Bennett's, we don't have time. But tell Brother Bennett's, because I was kind of in contact with him. I want him on this show. So if you see him, you tell him to come on here because I'm getting. Okay, I want my rings. I have all the muscles on here. I had Riz, I had you, and now I need Brother Ben next. So I thank you so much for the information and blessings to you and everything that you're doing. And please stay in touch, brother.
I will do. Look forward to it, Sister Queen. And thank you for the platform. And you keep up the good work and watch how God's going to bless you for trying to look out for his people.
Thank you, brother. I receive that. I love you and you take care, okay?
Love you too, Sister Queen.
All right. Bye-bye. Guys, what a wonderful guy. I'm sorry, some of you guys, I didn't get to tell them your questions. I will have some more shows next week. It's funny because I don't know what they are, but I know I'm having some next week. That's how crazy doing this show is, okay? So just make sure you pay attention and make sure you continue to tell your friends about Kera Dangerous Talk YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that like button because they shadow ban Black content creators. So I need for you to leave comments and share the word and press like and all that good stuff to keep the information flowing and going. And I'm going to keep bringing you guys some good information. I thank you all for joining and you have a wonderful night.